One. Okay, so we have a special guest today. Um, Caleb.
Yeah,
Hello. Say
what's
hi.
up? Hi, I am Caleb.
Okay,
That's
that's.
me.
We'll
It's
stick with it.
beautiful.
That's beautiful. All right, so today we're going on the topic of standardized testing. Okay, some people say it's bad. Some people say it's good. I think it's bad.
I'm like in between about it. Like, I'm not very sure.
Well, I'm sure
'Cause
it can
like,
be good sometimes, but the amount of, we take 112 tests on average
jeez.
throughout school, which it sounds like not a lot, but compared to Finland, Finland only takes one.
On,
Only takes
just
one.
one.
Just one.
You know, a good comparison would be looking at the German schools.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that, but we're gonna jump into what standardized testing started as, right?
All right.
It was a
Let's-
U.S. Army alpha test and beta test to test your IQ and tell you where it fit best, right?
Mhm.
So, like, if you were passed, like, with an A, like, above average, you got awarded officer for some reason. Off just one
That's
test. Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. I mean, I think it would be based off of like how good you are in the military, like how good you're doing.
Nope. Just based
like
off intelligence, which was
That's
bad at measuring that.
yeah.
Heck yeah. Alright.
All right.
And to counteract the falling numbers of U.S. ranking as education, George Bush passed the No Child Left Behind Act in 2002.
Exactly. What was that?
And it was start taking more tests, basically.
So to
That's,
fix.
its whole
Oh my
goal was
God.
to take more tests. And so I don't know if that's supposed to.
Well, George Bush wasn't exactly the best president.
Okay, we're
Not bringing in the politics.
We're not going there yet. We'll get there. And it was so they put things like math, reading, and science ahead of like social studies.
Yeah.
When it comes to testing, you don't even take social studies tests, and you barely take science tests.
Oh.
You don't even think. No, you don't even take science tests.
No.
No.
Well, yeah, we do.
Eh.
In our science class, we take like essays, sort of.
I'm talking about like on the big boy tests, SATs and stuff.
Well, yeah. There's like reading
It's
tests,
just yeah, but then they
and-
put a little bit of science in there, whatever.
and yeah, there is no science
Now
on the SAT. There's no science.
before we start tearing into standardized testing, we should probably talk about the pros, or at least the conceptual pros, what people think are pros, right?
Yeah.
So number one would be curriculum. Teachers actually teach what they're supposed to because good scores are rewarded, and it makes it
Mr.
easy to jump from
Anton.
school to school because everyone's learning the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't
That-
happen in reality. But
Y-
again, we'll get to it. Any
One
thoughts on
day.
it?
Not really. I mean, it makes sense why you do that. I don't see. I feel like there is a school system out there that does it. Going
Way
back
better,
to German
100%,
schools.
Yeah. Alright, and then number two would be progress. It gives parents, teachers a good reading to where their students are in their classes, which is, I guess, the whole point of it, right? That's a big,
Yeah.
that's a big boy number.
Parents should also know what's going on. Like
I don't
they're
think
a
most
big-
parents look at your test scores, right? And even
They
if they, okay, let's wait to tear it down. Okay, we're gonna move on to
Yeah.
the next one. Objectivity. Standardized tests take the objectivity as tests, not because test questions are thoroughly made and reviewed by experts. And a robot grades your test, so there is no opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's. I don't like that. The fact that the robots are doing this nowadays.
Well,
Like,
it's been a long
let's
time
say
coming.
let's say you have like a ton of work, like you're doing a math test, but you have a Scantron, but you have like a ton of like work shown, like a bunch of equations. Like, I would give them a little bit more credit than just a 0 for having all of that work shown. Like, if there was nothing there, I'd understand.
Yeah. Well, on to the next thing, which would be skills. Kind of leads into that. Standardized testing can help develop skills like working under pressure, time management, studying.
Yeah.
Helpful in real life, which is kind of basic. And government support. Because standardized testing scores are public, they allow the government and lawmakers to easily access what needs to be taken when it comes to school and learning. So they can see what we're excelling at, decide what needs to be more focused on, even though they cut social studies completely out for some reason. You still take the class. Now, moving on to what counteracts these, so now we can give our opinion. They don't enforce the curriculum, they restrict it.
Oh yeah.
Which is that's just 100%
It's not good.
true. Because there's not much to say about that. It's just
I mean,
there's no creativity. We'll get to that later. More on that later. Progress, right? As what we said earlier. Just look at your grade in your class. Right? Is that a little too much? Or if you wanted them to see their progress, maybe actually be able to show them what they got wrong and what they got right. You know?
yeah, because the teachers don't do them.
And you're not even allowed to talk about the questions that you have on the test
Like,
that you think you got wrong.
Our first hour,
Right?
we take all the tests on the Scantrons, and we never show what the right answer actually is.
Nope.
So we don't learn from it.
Exactly. You can't learn from your
And
mistakes if you don't know what you got wrong on it.
Yeah.
Because you get like a percentage, and you're like, oh, 1100.
Wow.
Oh,
Cool.
cool.
Wow.
Alright.
What did I get?
And
What
then,
did I do wrong here?
Now we're moving on to objectivity. A quote from the fairest.org, the National Center for Fair Testing, said, "The only objective part of most standardized tests is scoring. When done by an accurately programmed machine, deciding what items to include on the test, how questions are worded, which answers are scored as correct, how the test is administered, and the users of exams results are all made by subjective human beings." Which basically means, robots are doing it, and humans are making
and
the test.
it's they're just being lazy. Like, get over it. You gotta grade a couple tests.
The UK, I was reading up on this earlier. The UK, what they do, instead of, they use you have to write an assignment. It's one assignment, no other test.
So it's like an essay?
It's like an essay, but it's one thing, and you actually have to think about it, you know? And they give them time to prepare, they give them time to get ready, right?
Yeah.
And time's ready. And then skills, it's basically obvious. You don't have to take tests to learn time management or other things. You can do that literally anywhere.
Yeah,
else.
you can.
And then
Well, you
government
can-
help. Sorry, you can say what you say. I cut you off.
Like, you could. They're the most brilliant people in the world I know have learned mainly from reading books, not from school.
Yeah, most of the learning is done outside the house. Or
Yeah, it's
at
outside school.
Alright, government help. You shouldn't take these numbers at face value because I'll show you. There's a bunch of graphs. We'll get to it. And then cons. Alright. And the No Child Left Behind Act has failed what it set out to do, right? It was set out to increase America's score on tests. And
Which did not do anything.
you know what I find funny? You know what I find funny though, right? They
What?
use a test to see where kids are at testing.
I mean, the NWA test.
Yeah, or the PISA. That's a
Yep.
national test. That's how they do the rankings.
I hate those tests. They're annoying. They're time wasting, and like, I mean, based on like regular grades, you should see like, oh, this person should be in a higher math class, not based on random questions.
And inaccurate measurements is like, okay, so let me just tell you the values of education, what it can help, right? There's a lot of them, so bear with me, okay? Knowledge performance, one second. Gerald Bracey, an American education researcher, stated that it doesn't show a student's creativity, critical thinking, resilience, motivation, persistence, curiosity, endurance, reliability, enthusiasm, empathy, self-awareness, self-discipline, leadership, civic mindedness, courage, compassion, resourcefulness, sense of beauty, sense of wonder, honesty, and integrity.
Yeah. That was a lot of stuff.
That is a lot of stuff, but that's what makes a smart
It is
person a
memory,
smart
but
person, right?
Yeah.
And if we're measuring it based off of that, right, I don't think you can't do it because there's way too many people in America, right? Here, let's just go to what William Hiss says. He's done research on this topic, so he knows his stuff. The human mind is so complex and so multifaceted and fluid that trying to find a single measurement tool that will be reliable across the enormous population of American students is simply a trip up a blind alley, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
there's way too many,
yeah.
and every state is different,
Mhm.
and everybody's life at home is
Everybody's
different.
doing it different.
Everyone's doing it different.
Which isn't good.
It's just you can't measure. It should be different in each state, and we shouldn't even have to take these things. But all right, on to the next thing. It's just wealth. Wealth plays a major role in how well kids do on tests. It's
Yeah.
undeniable. It's undeniable because 6%. Here, let's just. As I was in this topic, the combination of 4 such variables, number of parents living at home, parents' educational background, type of community, and poverty rate all impact the test scores that you get by 89%.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay?
Okay, yeah.
And
yeah.
then wealth.
I see where that's going.
And wealth that plays a major role. Parents spend money on education.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, you can get better
Yeah,
or better,
and then-
better education with your money."
Teaching to the test. And we're gonna spiral into that.
Yep.
Just it's kids would rather cheat on a test because it doesn't value learning. It values a higher grade.
Yeah. Okay, so
And
what exactly is teaching to the test?
what exactly?
Like you're teaching.
You're learning
So-
just to pass the test, which this happens constantly. SAT people do it all the time.
Well, I see the tests as seeing what you have learned and how much you've been paying attention.
Which that's not what I see TTTT being as. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. So in one of my classrooms, we are using test packets to figure out where we're gonna be. With big asterisks. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did packets, and then we moved into what we're gonna do to increase the score. But we never got there, right?
Study guides are a big thing about this. Like,
It's
give
kinda
you a
like
study
history
guide.
class, right?
Yeah.
You don't. I don't believe you learn the history. You just remember it and then pass the test.
Those history tests are
Yeah. Don't
no.
even get started.
You have to memorize the
Don't even get me
chapter
started.
just to do it.
And tests in themselves have built a whole new category of anxiety.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've ever
definitely.
felt it. I feel like every student
Oh,
feels it. Doesn't matter who you are.
First hour teacher has yelled at me a bunch about it, as you know.
So just keep carrying it down.
Yeah.
All right. And this is a quote from a study about stresses on the test. Children can suffer from negative thoughts as, if I don't pass this test, I will never get a good job. They can also suffer psychological.
Oh yeah.
I butchered that. That's fine.
Psychological.
Yeah, psychological. Symptoms such as
Psychosocial.
tight muscles or trembling or distracting behaviors such as playing with a pencil.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you
I
ever
do
done
that all the
Yeah,
time.
right. So, as I was saying earlier, you kind of teachers stop teaching a certain amount of other things. 145 minutes to focus on reading and math compared to everything else, which would be...
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, okay, so they decreased science and social studies by an average of 145 minutes.
They did. So yeah, I couldn't
And then
focus
they
for that
started
long.
focusing
Definitely
on-
not.
Well, they decreased it by 145 minutes on average.
Okay.
So science and social studies are kind of not, because the only thing that are mostly on the test are reading and math.
Yeah. So they've brought down the focus just because there's only
Because the
reading
test,
and
because
math
the
on
test
the SAT.
shows, yeah,
That is so dumb.
there isn't any big focus.
Like,
on
okay,
science and social studies,
the world today needs more scientists,
and
in
more,
my opinion.
and more people looking at history because we keep repeating.
Yeah.
It, you know?
Yeah. Especially
And,
with our current, yeah.
Just a little bit of data. 1,250 civics, social studies, and government teachers said 75% of respondents said frequent testing was the cause of drop in time spent on science and social studies. And I have a clip from
50.
Obama. Thank you, Obama.
Yes, Obama.
Great teachers who shaped my life. What I remember isn't the way they prepared me to take a standardized test. What I remember is the way they taught me to believe in myself, to be curious about the world.
Alright, take the clip. There you go. And I guess we're coming to our conclusion, which is standardized testing failed to do what it wanted to achieve in the first place. It doesn't measure anything well, right? Because you don't get to see what you got wrong. And it's more of a test to your zip code. And it created a whole new category of anxiety, that's probably the best
which
part.
isn't good.
That's probably the best part. And it negatively affects the curriculum. And we have so much riding on tests, right? Schools get... Okay, so as the No Child Left Behind Act got passed, so did the Rise to the Top. Which is, if the school is getting good test scores, they'll get more funding. Doesn't that sound like...
Yeah.
But that's why the curriculum's changing, because...
Just, like...
It's changing because we need funding, I guess, in schools. And they're focusing 10 times more on the test.
Yeah. They're... My god. It makes me so angry, the fact that... Why don't we take from other people? Like, there are so many other places out there that do, like, really good school systems, and we're doing this.
Well, we took all the bad stuff.
Exactly.
We took all the bad stuff. And,
like,
Look, a change needs to happen to the test. We can't just let them stay the way they are, otherwise something's going to happen. It's going to blow up in our faces.
We definitely aren't going to get that change right now, though.
We're going to goddamn try, alright?
I wish.
We're going
to have to make some huge movements to do it.
That's why we're talking to the youth of America.
Yup. Man,
right,
dude.
I think that's all the time we have.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Guess that's all we got.
See you on the flip
All right.
side.
Sweet.
Okay, I mean, that wasn't that bad.